All right. Hey, folks. Welcome. We're here. I am Anthony Nitz with EXP, team leader and part of EXP Realty Group. And I just wanted to welcome our newest member to the team, Miss Shawna Olsen from the Olsen Group. Just joined our team recently. And you know what? She is an amazing person and has a lot of great information to share about herself and what she does, and some things that I find very interesting, and I want you guys to know about it too. So welcome, Shawna. How are you?
Good, and you?
I'm doing good. She's like, you got me on camera. You're making me talk. Yes. Um, yeah. So, hey, Shawna, so give us a little bit of your background, just kind of a snapshot, like when you first got into, or let me ask you this question. What made you get into real estate in the very, very beginning?
It's actually a very convoluted story. I actually started in the not in the insurance business back in the early 90s. And after 20 years, I went back to school and went to FIDM in Orange County in LA. And it was during the downturn. So I started going to the free library, otherwise known as Barnes and Noble. For some reason, I would just gravitate towards real estate. After talking to my mom, because I was living in Georgia and she was living in California, which is where I grew up. She said, it's interesting that you want to go into that business because your grandmother was in it and your grand uncle was in it and your grandmother flipped houses and I do interior design and I have had houses. And I was like, well, wait a second, this isn't just a fluke. It was actually probably something that I always gravitated towards, but just because I had ended up in the family business when I got married into the insurance world, I didn't go that direction. So after about 6 months, I decided that it was time to jump from where I was working and get my license and get started. And that's what I did.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's interesting. I kind of have a similar story. Several people in my family were part of it. Thought I'm never going to be in real estate. Where'd I end up? In real estate my whole career. So, it kind of gets in the blood, right? So it's genetic, I guess. So, well, that's interesting. So now when you first got in, what was the first company that you went to, and give us kind of a history of the different places that you've worked prior to coming to EXP.
Well, when I earned my license in Georgia, I went to work with Keller Williams. And I went through a very fast paced, first 60, 70 days, something like that. And during that process, I had picked up a couple clients and I met a couple other brokers, and one of them wooed me away because they did new construction. And that put me with a boutique firm in Georgia, in Atlanta, and basically pretty much started my thirst for chasing lots, tear downs, new construction, anything that I could rebuild and basically take this part of town where nobody wanted to go and flip it upside down and get it back on its feet. And that's what I did.
Okay, so you did, and that was in Georgia you did that?
That was Georgia. It was on the west side of town. The area was going through gentrification. A lot of 100-year-old homes, bungalows that had either been rented out, and some of them just were in deplorable state, and some of them were turned into homes that you don't want to go to. And so some of them got burned out and burnt down and partially burnt, or were drug houses. And I would go in and find the owner and say, look, let's just sell the lot. There's nothing redeemable, or partner with me and the builder, and we will take the land through the process of development and put it back into the economy and make you some money, me some money, and the builder money, and provide a new home and bring, younger folk into that neighborhood so that they could be closer to town and not have to live totally outside of the perimeter of the 285.
That's interesting. You did the kind of a cooperative arrangement with the seller or the owner of the property, even though the structure itself had no value, where I'm sure there was some sort of like equity split or something like that on the sale of the developed property. Correct. Which that's huge to people who are watching this, because what a lot of real estate agents don't know right now is creativity in our space, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of agents go out, they sell a house, and it's get a listing agreement, the buyer gets a loan, the house sells, boom, it's done. That's it. That's all there is to it. And there
Mm-hmm.
aren't any other options. And so I love it when I hear creative, things and things that you're thinking of that are creative to help sellers
Mm-hmm.
come up with different options. Because, hey, the reality is in our space, right? It changes all the time, every single day. Tomorrow is different. We don't know what tomorrow is, but I remember when it was, well, in the 80s, when I bought my first house, I remember, we got our first house and we paid, a low price for it by compared to today's standards, but we were so thrilled we got a 10% interest rate,
Mm.
because everybody else was getting 12, and people don't think about those things now. You know what I mean? So that's pretty cool. Ooh, get me all choked up there. So the you were in Georgia. What was happening after Georgia? Or did you do something else after the new construction stuff?
Oh, I did a whole bunch of stuff. I sold condos, I sold land, I sold investors. I had an investor that had purchased, I think it was 20 or 22 HUD houses.
Oh,
like 20 years
HUD.
before.
Okay.
Yes. And he bought it for nothing and he became a landlord. And he happened to have a double lot with a little house on it. And that's how I met him in the neighborhood that there's two little neighborhoods I was working in. And I just ended up saying, whenever you're ready to sell off the next one, and they would be all over the place. So sometimes I would be out of my area. However, I always did a great job for him, so he just kept calling. I sold 5 properties for him because he was nearing retirement. He was also an insurance broker, and he was just ready to kind of slim down his portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
So anything from development land, like acres, 12, 15 acres, from South Georgia, meaning I think it was Monroe, all the way out past Buford, almost towards Athens, which would be a good hour outside of Atlanta. But primarily I dealt with in town. I lived near Centennial Park.
Gotcha.
in a converted loft.
So you said another key term there that, again, so many people out here in Southern California, Orange County, have no clue. HUD houses, right? I mean, they exist. They're pretty far and few between out here in Orange County.
Yeah.
But with the non-foreclosure market state that we're in right now, good luck. And if you find one, it's probably already half torn down and in probably some bad shape. But again, where's tomorrow going? And again, for investors who are looking, if you're looking to connect with somebody who knows how to find those deals. I mean, already I'm just on the 2 things you've already shared. I'm thinking, man, I think I'm going to hire you myself to go find some property. So
thank you.
So you were in Georgia, and then did you leave Georgia? I mean, it was kind of the last thing you did in Georgia, or did you make any other transitions there?
No, well, during that time I started my my GRI designation, and then my husband, he was my husband at the time, but we were living together, and we moved back to California in early January of 15. And during that time I ventured back into I got my license, I studied, and once I got here back home, I studied for my license and earned that in March. So it's just a matter of the state. And then jumped back in with residential and started chasing that. Did that for a while, went to work for Toll Brothers for a while, did that for a year. So another new development, one of their first modern projects, which was a huge endeavor for them to take on such a different style since they're so traditional. And then went on to work for another company and did fine with them, and then jumped back out of that and went to work for another boutique firm, and that's where I'm at now. Then I went to EXP.
Gotcha. Okay. So let me talk about the new home developers when you're selling for them.
Mhm.
So is there any benefit to a home buyer if they're going and looking at a new home development? Is there any benefit for them to call you as opposed to just walking in and signing in and registering themselves?
Absolutely. I would never advise anybody to walk into a builder and just negotiate or work out a deal or anything with a builder. It's the
Yeah.
same thing as walking straight into a resale residential with a listing agent. I wouldn't advise anybody to do that either,
What,
ever.
so wait, what are you saying, that the person who's on site representing the builder is acting in the best interest of the builder?
Absolutely. That's their
Not the
job.
buyer?
That's their sole purpose.
Yeah.
Their sole purpose is to get you done. In every single new home contract is built-in commission. It's built into it.
Right.
If you go in there and you don't negotiate, or at least try to, if you think you're going to negotiate with the builder directly and you don't know that and you walk away, the builder's going to keep that as extra profit.
Right.
On top of the fact that there are other things that can be negotiated, adding different like electrical, changing the lighting, doing builder upgrades from flooring to beams to possibly a swimming pool. It depends on where you live. There are a whole bunch of different things. Everything's negotiable, but it isn't negotiable if you don't know what you're negotiating for.
Right. Right. Absolutely. And I've seen it 100 times myself. They walk
And
in, the builder says, this is the price. And the buyer goes, okay.
okay,
And they sign it. And they do it.
exactly.
Now, one of the things, and I'm going to say this for the benefit of the buyers who might be watching this, if you ever go to a developer, they're going to ask you to sign in right then and there, which you think, what's the big deal? You know? Well, here's the problem with that. Once you sign in, you now have basically excluded the option to have yourself represented by anybody who's looking out for your best interest.
Yeah,
And they're very, very firm about that because they want to keep that money for themselves.
of course.
Do buyers agents get paid when we represent you in those transactions? Of course. That's why we do it. We don't, it's not a hobby. Uh, but I mean, give us an example of like the type of benefits that somebody could get when they reach out to you instead of walking directly into that buyer's or into that builder's office.
Well, there's just so many things to look at. The location of the property, understanding the HOA, the tax bases, if they have a CFD, which is Community Facilities District tax, or otherwise known as a Mello-Roos. How long is that bond for? It used to be 20 years, and it went to 30, now it's 40. So you need to know what you're on the hook for and what that's going to give you. This is the educational part of buying new construction. On top of that, once you get into, I found what I want, how do I get on the list? Maybe there might be a list waiting. What do I need to give them to be on the list? When I come up, do I have to give them a deposit? What does that do for me in the deposit? Is there going to be a lottery for the product? We as our market economy with housing goes through fluctuations. At times it comes up, there'll be a hot product. It doesn't matter if it's a condo or $1 million or $2 million home. It just depends on who wants it and where it's at. So all these things have to be navigated with the appropriate professional, and that's what I do. So when you're looking at buying a new home, new construction, resale, whatever, you need to consult with a realtor who has some experience in these fields so that they can navigate it for you and educate you on the process so that you get the best deal, you're protected, and you know what you're getting yourself into long term. Not just be excited about, we're getting a house, and all of a sudden, what did I do?
Yeah.
You need to know what you're doing and what your exposure is.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. And you said a key word there also, experience.
Mm-hmm.
Experience counts for a lot. There's, a lot of people in this business who it's just say it like it is. It's really easy to get a real estate license. Anybody
It
can
is.
get a real estate license. Does that mean that they should be helping you in the biggest purchase of your life or the biggest sale of your life? No, absolutely not. In my opinion, now being fair, everybody has to start somewhere, but they should be, working with at least a mentor of some kind who is going to be keeping an eye out for you. So you moved out to California. You kind of just switched around from a few different brokerages and stuff, and you ended up joining EXP Realty. And what's the what if you had to pick like the number one reason why you chose EXP Realty? What would you say that is?
It comes down to, I need someone who's going to work for me, and EXP is going to work for me. Some people don't understand that since I've been in business for myself for 30 years, I've always worked for myself. So if I'm going to pay for something to be done, such as I'm with a brokerage firm and I have to give up 10, 20, 30% of my commission, what are you going to give me? What are you going to do for me? You work for me. I work for me. So what are you going to do for me? So there has to be a good balance of what you're going to give me for what I'm giving you. So if I'm going to give you some of my commission, I want to see something back, and it needs to be good. I have to have a broker that I can catch into and just check in with and say, hey, I got a question about this. I just want to tune it down. Even though I have designations, even though I'm a broker, I've had it for 3.5 years, I still get questions or want to question things. So that's one thing, having a broker. The other is the ease in getting to the marketing platform. That is what's important to me at this point. The second or third thing is that I like the fact that now that I'm in this situation, I can build out a team around me, which is what I did in the insurance world. It was just 2 of us. We built out to 12. I'd like to build another team with me again. That's what I enjoy doing. I love teaching. I love helping. I love guiding. And hopefully those people will come up and grow a team with them too. Because my saying back in the insurance world is, when I brought someone on, I said, you got 2 years. And in 2 years, you will be gone, because you've learned as much as you can here, and it's time for you to go on to a bigger, better job. Mm-hmm. That was my promise to them. And that's what I'm hoping to grow here, is that I can bring people in, we can grow, they can get better, be more successful, I can be more successful, and then it just flourishes it from there. Sure. The other thing is the ease with the platform. Going into, EXP world and going in and being my little avatar and running around or dancing, it's just easy to get and navigate where I'm going. It's very intuitive. For me, I'm not an IT person. I will never pretend to be one. If I have to wait for my husband to come home, hey, IT man, come help me. But with this, like, a majority of things I've been able to navigate, which is helpful to me, because then I don't have to ask him, which is like, I don't want to do that again. Because he's got things he's got to get done. So, so far, that's probably it. I know that there's other, facets to it, rev share, which, will come in time. Mm-hmm. And, hopefully we get back to being a little bit more out there again. And, I just foresee this company taking off and going even further than your traditional brokerage firms. I just don't see them lasting. I don't know how they'll be able to do it.
Well, I mean, and let me touch on a few of those things if I can. Mm-hmm. I've been in this business for almost 25 years myself, and at one point in time, I took a break because I was like, "Oh man, I've got to sell a house every single day, or I don't get paid. We don't eat." And when you've been doing that for almost 25 years, and then you go, "I'm tired." What's the end game? And yeah, you have great months and you have great years, and then you have some bad times and slow times and all stuff. But when I heard about EXP myself, I knew in a split second it was the option for me, because of the ability, like you said, to build a team. And talking about the support, I'm going to give you an example. Just today alone, there was a document that one of the agents had submitted to us on a transaction. And I was like, that's not the right document. Now, what would I normally do? I would go into my zip forms and I would scan every single document. Go, I know it's there. Where is it? Oh my gosh, what is it? I might, in my old office, I might have called my broker and said, hey, can you call me back when you get a second and help me figure out what this form is? But they might not have known either. I sent a message to our state broker via Workplace, and I think it was 6.5 whole minutes later, she sent me back a thing, and all it said was, "This is the form." Boom. I'm like, that's all I needed. That's all I needed, right?
Thank you.
Solved. And that is just an example of the support that we get with EXP. There's over 500 employees who work at the corporate level just supporting all of the agents. Very interesting perspective as opposed to a traditional brokerage of owner, regional owner, franchise owner, office manager, going from the top down. When agents make a sale, it all goes up to them. It's the other way around at EXP. All those people are there to support us, and they get paid, yes, when we make a sale, but only by supporting us and giving that. And as far as the team growth part of it goes, in our industry, I tell you, I had a team of 10 people, and of those 10 people, 6 of them, at some point in time said, hey, Anthony, thanks for teaching us everything you know. Now we're going to go do our own thing and become your competition. It's like, frustrating. And now with the way that the EXP has set up the entire structure with the rev share, with all that stuff, with all the stock awards and everything, I have no problem sharing with everybody everything I know, because the more you know, the more productive you are, the more money I make in the end as well. And the same thing goes for you, and the same thing goes for that person, and that person, and that person. So it's really a brilliant strategy. And if you want to learn more about it, just reach out to Shawna and ask her, tell me, hey, what is this EXP thing all about? And she'll get you connected. And the platform, you mentioned the platform. Yeah. How fun is that to walk around out there as an avatar? Weird at first, but you would be amazed at how quickly you get used to it. And then also the fact that military, governments, other large industries are coming to us because the company owns Vermelha, which is that platform that allows us to have meetings in what we call the world. They come to us and say, hey, set us up with this. Why is that a good thing? It's because when we buy into the EXP belief in the system and all stuff, and then we start getting stock awards, we're not just getting stock awards for EXP, we're getting a stock awards for EXP, the World Holdings part, which owns all of those assets. So now they start buying, or the military says, hey, the Navy, hey, sign us up. We want to have meetings with 10,000 soldiers across the world in a secure platform. Then and they're paying big bucks for it. Who does that benefit? Us. So yeah, absolutely. So we're in the right place for sure. So if you guys, if you're out there and you're thinking, boy, EXP, what is EXP? And I want to touch on one other thing that people don't get to about the benefit of EXP for the agent, but also for the home seller. Two things is that for the agent, statistics, there's actually we have slides and reports and everything that show that EXP agents tend to be a little bit more productive than most other agents from large brokerages and even a lot of the independent brokerages. And the reason is because as an agent, I'm building a team and I'm getting rev share, I'm getting stock awards, I'm getting these things, right? This is all financial support. So the typical agent goes out, they make a sale, they get a commission check. By the time the commission sells, they go, oh my gosh, I finally got paid. I got to pay all these bills. And then you pay all the bills. And then what happens? You get no money to market, right? And so you go, I got to start again. Let me sell another house. And the circle goes over and over and over. But when we have our rev share and our stock awards and things like that, things that we can leverage to pay for our marketing and all that stuff, we go, okay, wait, I got my commission check, but I also have money to help me pay for advertising. I don't care if it's even a few $100. If you spent a few $100 more per month in advertising, does that put you in not in the 50%, not in the 70%, but probably in the 90 percentile range on the top of other agents who are advertising, right? So you're good to go. And then from a seller standpoint and from a buyer standpoint, and more from a seller standpoint, from my perspective anyways, is that the same thing, because we have revenue, as instead of an agent taking your listing and going, okay, well, I got to wait for this deal to close so I have money so I can start doing marketing. Well, how are they marketing your house? They're not. They're not marketing your house other than put in MLS. But because we have those additional revenue sources, now we can do crazy marketing stuff, that most other people are not doing. So take advantage of it. Reach out to Shawna and do that. And I'm sorry, I kind of gave a whole little presentation there, but I think it's important for people to know, these are some of the things, and it's only some of the things that EXP has to offer. So, so what would you like? So you've got, buyers and sellers watching this video right now. What would you like them to know about Shawna, in a split second?
In a split second?
Split second. No, just whatever.
Take my whole life and squeeze it down to
no, take your time.
Oh my gosh. Let's see here. Born and raised in Orange County. Been all over the place, north to south, to the beach. Went to Long Beach State, FITM. Have an adult son. Have a few puppies. I'm on my 10th dog as an adult. So I like dogs. I'm a big puppy person. I'm a cyclist. I like to ride my bicycle, not a motorcycle, a bicycle. And avid golfer, tennis player. Love to travel when we can. Can't wait till we can get back. So might have to be more road trips for a while, which is cool. So that's basically it. I'm a Leo, so I'm pretty loyal to the end, unless something really disastrous happens. But I'm loyal to my friends, my family, and my clients, and I take care of them very well. So.
Great. And what area are you serving? Just with the Central Orange County area, or?
Central Orange County, I pretty much go down what I call a 22 corridor. So that would be Santa Ana, like mostly what I would call older homes, anything from 1890s to the late 50s, 1950s that would be. So that would be Orange, Santa Ana, some Garden Grove, Anaheim, and Lakewood. A lot of my clients tend to want an older home with some character and architectural flair. I personally live in Floral Park. I love it here. I'm actually third generation that's lived here. My great-grandparents lived here, and that's where my parents had their reception, literally around the corner. I walk past the house quite a bit. And then my grandparents used to live over on Flower. So I spent a lot of time up here in and out during the 60s and 70s. And now that I live back here, it's kind of like coming back into home. It's very comfortable. I love my neighborhood.
Awesome. So if somebody wants to reach out to you and learn about EXP or about selling a house or buying a house in Orange County, how would they get a hold of you?
Call me, 949-734-9251. Or you can reach out to me on my email address at Shawna@olsenreg.com. So either way is fine. You
Okay.
can also just Google me, or you can go on Instagram, Shawna Olsen Real Estate, and you can follow me.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Give the number one more time.
949-734-9251.
All right. Okay, guys. Well, there you have it. That's Shawna Olsen from Olsen Real Estate Group or Realty Group from
Real Estate
the
Group.
Olsen Group, right? Sorry.
Olsen Real Estate Group.
Olsen Real Estate Group. Sorry.
Yep.
With EXP, and you know, uh, it's difficult to come across people who are just good agents, and I want to say that carefully because there's a lot of good people who have good intentions, but when you have good good experience, good background, a good breadth of knowledge and experience, like I said, with the new home developments, the new construction, finding land, HUD housing, or homes, having that in your back pocket as an agent, and having that agent in your back pocket as a buyer or seller is invaluable. So anyways, welcome, Shawna. We're so glad that you're part of the team and look forward to doing some great stuff together. And we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Okay. Take care.
Bye.